So we start off back local, where at least 13 people lost their lives and 3 others sustained critical injuries following a grisly accident involving a matatu and a trailer at Pangala in Kisumu Ndogo area along the Londiani Muhoroni Road Tuesday afternoon. Here is Ben Chumba with the details.
Eyewitnesses say the trailer traveling towards Londiani lost control and veered off its lane, colliding head-on with the matatu, which was heading to Kisumu. The impact leaving 13 matatu passengers, including the driver, dead on the spot.
Hii gari ilikuwa natoka huku na Nissan ilikuwa natoka huku saidi ya Moroni, ilikuwa inaenda Kisumu. Nikasikia lori imekuja na nguvu. Sasa hii Nissan dereva mwenye alikuwa anaendesha Nissan akasema gai, huyu mwenye lori anataka kutua aje. Deka kidogo nimeona hii lori imefinya Nissan chini. Mama mwingine akalia akaliwoi, huyu mtu anatua aje, tunapeleka watoto shule.
Tulikuwa nafuata hiyo lori ilikuwa inakuja na mbio sana. Sasa hiyo lori alikuwa anajaribu kuepa hizo mashimo. Na kumbe alisha lose control. And kama huyo alikuwa amekula miraa.
3 survivors, a child and 2 adults, were seriously injured and are receiving medical care at Muhoroni Sub-County Hospital. The driver of the trailer who survived the crash fled the scene immediately and remains at large.
Chenye tunaomba bumps kwa hii barabara. Hapa hakuna bumps na hilo malori zinatoka huku juu ikikuja na mbio sana zikiteremka huku chini. Tunaumia sana. Sasa sisi hata kama wenye wanapita hapa ama wenye watu wa magari ndogo ndogo.
This accident has actually been something that we have always been witnessing along this highway, and we want to appeal the government of Kenya today henceforth kwamba hii njia hii irekebishwe. Tumesikia inawekwa budget kila wakati na tumekuwa tukishangaa.
The bodies of the deceased have been moved to St. Vincent Mission Hospital mortuary in Muhoroni, awaiting identification by their families. Authorities have since cleared the wreckage from the scene, towing both vehicles to Kapsitet Police Station for further examination. A search for the trailer driver is currently underway as investigations into the cause of the accident continue.
Wow. You can imagine that particular PSV vehicle was ferrying 14, and now the driver of that trailer is missing. So if you have any information that may lead to his arrest, I think he needs to answer to his actions that led to the loss of 13 lives. Those who survived that grisly accident are actually, I don't know, out of the 13, only 1 is missing. So quite a loss there. So maybe bumps may be one of the ways to try and regulate, or rather stem the number of accidents that have been reported in that particular black spot. It's quite something when you think that was a vehicle that was on the road ferrying people from one place to another, and due to negligence and oversight of the drivers, then we've lost 13 people. That is it. May their souls rest in peace. Now, still on not savory matters, so to speak, is that police in Makueni County are conducting an investigation following the grim discovery of 2 decomposing bodies in a rented house in Bangladeshi Street. Now, the bodies, identified as those of a man and a woman, were found after neighbors reported a foul odor emanating from the residence, prompting them to alert the police. And elsewhere, a Form 3 female student at Kiptobit, a mixed-day secondary school, is nursing serious head and hand injuries after she was allegedly attacked by her boyfriend. Here's Irene Mchuma Odim with that particular roundup.
After 4 days of the couple's absence, residents of Bangladeshi in Wote grew increasingly concerned about a foul smell coming from the woman's room. Upon gaining entry, police found the woman's body lying face down on a chair bearing multiple stab wounds. The man's body was found hanging from the ceiling, raising questions about the circumstances surrounding their deaths. Neighbors, however, said the couple have had a rocky relationship.
Walikuwa wanakaa pamoja, lakini kila mtu alikuwa na nyumba yake. Na
walikuwa wanasumbuana kila wakati juu mama alikuwa anafanya kazi ya nyumba, alikuwa anaenda na anarudi, lakini mzee alikuwa anafanya tu kuhaso.
Nilikuja kwa plot na niliwapata tukikaa, nikaona wanakosana.
Saturday walikuwa wanakorofishana, hata tukasikia watoto wakipiga mlango. Alikuwa anachapa huyo mama. Sasa kuenda kuangalia tukapata hata ni issue yenye hata haifai. Wakaanza kuita kiateka apate waunganishe.
The bodies have been moved to Makueni Referral Hospital morgue as investigations continue.
Sasa kama watu wamekosana, waende kwa mzee wa kijiji ama waende kwa pasta, wapatiwe counseling.
Now, away from depressing matters, a comment has been made here that news quite can be depressing. Well, as I say, our role is to inform you, and we do not choose. We are not indiscriminate. Whatever is news, we bring it to you in real time and in a factual manner. Now, Kenya has formally joined the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank after it ratified the ascension by President William Ruto at the bank's headquarters in Beijing, China. Now, President Ruto says the move will enable Kenya access concessional financing for key development programs, climate change efforts, as well as connectivity and technology-enabled projects.
Hello. Thank you. I came early. Thank you. Yes.
President William Ruto held a meeting with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank President and Board of Directors Chairman. At the meeting, President Ruto highlighted Kenya's commitment to fund infrastructure projects and improve the welfare of Kenyans. The Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank has $100 billion worth of seed capital, with the bank targeting to direct 50% approval to climate financing-related projects by 2025. Earlier, President Ruto held a meeting with his host Xi Jinping, which focused on how to enhance access of Kenyan agricultural produce to the Chinese market.
It is also an important opportunity for Kenya-China Comprehensive Partnership Agreement, a strategic partnership that is based on a people-to-people engagement framed on programs that are mutually beneficial between our two countries.
On infrastructure, the two countries agreed to extend the standard gauge railway from Naivasha to Uganda, Rwanda, DR Congo, and Congo-Brazzaville that will connect the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. President Ruto says the dualling of Rironi-Mau Summit-Malaba Highway is crucial in easing travel of goods and passengers to Western Kenya and eventually to the region.
I want to thank you for the conclusion of the program on Kenya's rural roads, the intelligence transport system that has now been concluded, and the progress that has been made on our technical vocational equipment program, Boster Dam, the Nairobi Northern Bypass, and the Muthaiga-Kiambu bypass programs that have already, we've made very good progress, and hopefully we should be able to conclude.
And in the dailies, where you're going to get some of the details, this is the header: more projects and more debt. Now, AIB is a multilateral development institution with around 109 members and 100 billion shillings capitalization. The president says that Kenya is looking forward for engagements. Among the projects that were discussed in this particular meeting includes the dualling of the Rironi-Mau Summit-Malaba Road. This particular deal was actually with France. But now with that particular development and a deal in China, it means that China has taken that deal from France there. And there's a question as we are having these conversations on projects that need, funding, what does this mean to the country's debt burden? As you ponder on that, this is a conversation that is likely to continue taking shape as we speak matters of politics with Victor's panel this morning, so you can be part of this conversation. What do you think about the latest deal from China? As you're working on responding to us, maybe you're asking how, where, well, you can get us on X at KBC Channel 1. Now, to the courts, is that the High Court has ordered the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, to appear in court personally on Thursday this week, after he failed to appear Tuesday in a virtual morning session and afternoon in a physical court. Now, while issuing the orders, Justice Lawrence Mugambi said Kenya is a country governed by the rule of law and not by the mightiness of status quo. Now, as Ruth Wamboi reports, Masengeli has been summoned to answer to the habeas corpus of the 3 Kitengela missing persons and a contempt of court.
In what appeared to be a cat-and-mouse game Tuesday, in a mention for habeas corpus of 3 Kitengela missing persons, the Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, was missing in action during the morning virtual session. The court was informed by his counsel that he would appear physically in the afternoon, though he was a no-show.
And for that reason, my lord, that's why we are seeking for 24 hours, so that we can put in a reply affidavit. We'll bring to you this documentation so you can interrogate it.
The Law Society of Kenya, led by its president Faith Odhiambo, and the petitioners' counsels urged the court to issue a warrant of arrest against him, citing he had also violated the court order to produce the 2 missing brothers and an activist, Bob Njagi, in court.
If they want to come and treat us here to stories, who can tell the story of Bob? They have not been brought. Who can tell the story of the 2 brothers?
No, we're not here because of the reply of where the petitioners were abducted from. We are here because of the contempt orders for the first respondent.
Judge Mugambi has ruled that he appears on 5th September before the court's teeth can bite.
It will not watch at its authority, and the constitutionalism is slowly being whittled away. Those that deliberately ignore or disobey court orders must be ready for the consequences, and for the violation of the Constitution, even greater consequences.
With the families of the 3 missing persons crying out on their whereabouts since 19th of August this year, the Inspector General of Police will have to appear in person on Thursday this week to explain why he has been disobeying court orders. And a magistrate court has freed activist Boniface Mwangi and 4 others accused of publishing false information, unlawful assembly, and creating disturbance on 26 July.
These 5 persons, they were exercising the right to demonstrate. It is important that that right is respected and that right is not undermined.
Milimani's trial magistrate Gilbert Chikwe declined the prosecution prayers, citing they did not convince the court that they needed 2 more weeks to complete their probe in an exercise that has taken 37 days.
This issue of this application that was dated 26 July, I am fructus on the application since I have declined the extension. So consequently, the respondents are hereby discharged, and the cash bill should be refunded to the depositors.
Elsewhere, the family of a former employee of Treasury, Evans Chirchir, was shocked after it came to court to apply for habeas corpus, only to learn that their kin was at a Machakos morgue.
There were issues related to threats to life of Evans Chirchir. And the question that takes our attention is, were the issues related and surrounding the tendering process related or linked to the death of Evans Chirchir? Those are the issues that we want the Directorate of Criminal Investigations to unravel.
This is to inform the press in the entire nation that this is an urgent matter that needs to be investigated and expedited.
Ruth Wamboi for Good Morning Kenya.
Now, from the courts is that Performing and Audiovisual Rights Society of Kenya wants the Music Copyright Society of Kenya probed over the alleged misappropriation of 56 million shillings meant for artists. Now, speaking in Nairobi, the organization led by its board chair, that is Owado Owaiga, also sought a formal clarification from the Kenya Copyright Board on the presence of other collective management organizations purportedly collecting royalties beyond those affiliated to the Performing and Audiovisual Rights Society of Kenya. Here's Tilio Marco with the details.
Reports that some 56 million shillings meant for artists had been misappropriated at the Music Copyright Society of Kenya has attracted the wrath of the Performing and Audiovisual Rights Society of Kenya. The organization, led by its board chair Eduardo Waigwa, wants the Director of Criminal Investigations to promptly investigate the claims.
52 million is supposed to be distributed to our musicians. And I challenge even the DCI, because ever since it's been 2 weeks, I've not had anybody, any arrest, or we've not had any follow-up of that. Well, our young men and our artists are actually suffering. And here we are reporting that 52 million is lost. So I'm requesting the chairman to come out clean right now and let the investigation, start with immediate effect.
The organization has also urged the Kenya Copyright Board to deal with other collective management organizations purportedly collecting royalties beyond those allocated to them.
Kitambo kulikuwa na tutaweza waita wakora. Wanaenda wanaokota pesa wakijifanya hao wako kwa CMO.
In light of the recent development, we as Melta would like to request formal clarification from the Copyright Board, that is Kikopo, Chairman, regarding the presence of other collective management organizations, CMOs, that are purportedly collecting royalty beyond those affiliated with publics. We believe that such clarity is essential to ensure that all stakeholders, including our members, are well informed and comply with the legal appointed CMO for regulatory requirements.
It also invited stakeholders, including artists, content creators and government agencies, to hold constructive talks aimed at ensuring artists are fully compensated for their work.
To money matters now. An underwriting facility has been established to mitigate the risk associated with early-stage geothermal energy exploitation. Now supported by East African insurers and independent power producers, a $2 million facility aims to de-risk investments in renewable energy by covering the significant upfront costs and the risk of drilling geothermal wells that may improve commercial viability.
Kenya possesses an estimated 10,000 megawatts of geothermal potential, but the country has barely tapped into this resource, with only about 950 megawatts currently installed. As Kenya strives to achieve 100% clean energy by 2030, with geothermal energy playing a central role, early-stage risks and high upfront costs associated with geothermal drilling have deterred many investors.
Past what we have the capacity to cover above the ground risks, the installations, the EAR, and also all other associated coverages. That has been de-risked for a long time. The gap has been what coverage to give below the ground during the exploration.
In response, the Ministry of Energy and Industrialization, the Insurance Regulatory Authority, FSD Africa, and East African insurers have launched a geothermal risk underwriting facility. This initiative aims to mitigate financial risks, thereby facilitating the early-stage development of geothermal energy projects in Kenya. This facility is designed to empower local insurers to develop insurance products that attract investment into the region's geothermal energy sector.
We need around $600 billion to actually get to net zero and energy transition and meet our current energy gap.
We'll be able to attract
more investors into this area, and they're most likely going to put in funds to explore this particular type of energy.
Now, the United Kingdom has reduced its checks and inspection fees for some Kenyan horticultural produce in efforts to boost exports. Now, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary Salim Mvurya says in the spirit of reciprocity, Kenya is reducing the import duty of whiskey from the United Kingdom from 35% to 25%. Here's Benson Rioba with the details.
Kenya exported vegetables and fruits worth 20.3 billion shillings in the months of January, February and March this year to the United Kingdom, which was an increase of 1.5% as compared to the same period in 2023. Kenya is optimistic that horticulture exports will increase for the rest of this year after the UK reduced the inspection rate of some produce from 10% to 5%.
You receive goods or products from another country, you have to subject them to inspection, which had been pegged to 10%, now is 5%.
Snow peas joins Kenya cut flour as produce with less checks in the UK market after Kenya increased its pesticide surveillance on horticulture destined for key markets.
Flowers which are exported from Kenya to Britain but going through the EU, and there was a 10% tariff applied to that, where we've now brought that down for a 2-year period at least to zero.
Flowers is zero. I think the 10% is snow peas, which now has gone down to 5%.
UK investors have pledged to build a 1.3 billion shillings macadamia and cashew nuts processing facility in Lamu to boost exports and create jobs.
Equity Group is working with various institutions to support farmers, boost agricultural production, enhance access to markets, as well as technology and financial services. This is part of the lender's sustainability drive at the Equity Group, that the Equity Group Managing Director, Dr. James Mwangi, says has impacted so far 3.8 million MSMEs, small-scale farmers, and supported 292,000 micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises along the agriculture value chain.
Have led us now to have an integrated approach, not a silo approach. And when you have an integrated approach, it becomes easy to work together. We are aligning our thoughts, our actions, and in the process, we are becoming a great force for change. Equity is doing its part. If you do your part, then the aggregate of our initiatives will be able to change the world.
Accordingly, therefore, corporate sustainability should become the norm and play a greater and more systematic role in contributing to the attainment of wealth creation, social justice, and climate mitigation. As such, transnational corporations such as Equity Group have indeed a unique opportunity and somehow a duty